The Ice Age. For thousands of years, Earth was trapped in brutal cold. Massive glaciers covered huge parts of the planet, while early humans fought constantly to survive freezing winters, deadly storms, and starvation. Small hunting groups followed mammoths across endless frozen land, knowing one mistake could mean death. Fire became the difference between survival and extinction. Many humans never made it through the harsh climate, but those who did slowly became stronger, smarter, and more cooperative. The Ice Age didn't just test humanity, it shaped humanity. The Bronze Age collapse. Around 1200 BCE, entire civilizations suddenly began collapsing. Powerful kingdoms lost control, massive cities burned, and trade routes disappeared almost overnight. In Greece, Anatolia, and the Near East, people watched stable societies fall apart within a single generation. Nobody fully knows why it happened. Some blame invading groups called the Sea Peoples, while others point to famine, earthquakes, drought, and rebellion happening together. What makes this era terrifying is how quickly the ancient world unraveled, leaving behind centuries of chaos and darkness. The Black Death Era. In the 1300s, a deadly plague spread across Europe, Asia, and North Africa with horrifying speed. Victims developed fever, blackened skin, and painful swellings before dying within days. Entire families vanished behind closed doors, while streets filled with carts carrying bodies away. Fear consumed society as people abandoned neighbors, friends, and even relatives to avoid infection. Some cities lost half their population in only months. By the end, tens of millions were dead, making the Black Death one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. The Mongol Invasion Era. During the 13th century, Mongol armies exploded across Asia and Europe with terrifying speed. Led by Genghis Khan, their horsemen moved faster and fought harder than most enemies had ever seen. Cities that resisted were often wiped out completely, leaving behind ruins and mass graves. Stories of Mongol brutality spread so far that some towns surrendered before the army even arrived. Yet the Mongols also connected distant parts of the world through trade and communication. Their empire became both one of history's deadliest forces and one of its largest. The Atlantic Slave Trade Era. For centuries, millions of Africans were captured and forced into slavery. Families were torn apart during raids before prisoners were packed into ships crossing the Atlantic Ocean under horrific conditions. Disease, starvation, and violence killed many before they even reached land. Those who survived were sold into brutal labor on plantations across the Americas. Entire economies grew rich from human suffering, while generations lived without freedom. The scars left by the slave trade continued long after it officially ended. World War I Era. In 1914, the world entered a new kind of war. Soldiers spent months trapped inside muddy trenches, surrounded by rats, disease, and non-stop artillery fire. Machine guns turned open battlefields into death zones where thousands could die in minutes. Poison gas drifted through trenches, suffocating soldiers where they stood. Millions died fighting for small pieces of land that often changed hands repeatedly. By the end of the war, entire empires had collapsed, and Europe was left deeply broken. World War II Era. Only 20 years later, an even deadlier war began. Fighting spread across Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Pacific, while entire cities were destroyed through bombing campaigns. Nazi Germany carried out the Holocaust, murdering millions inside concentration camps built for mass death. In the Pacific, brutal battles left islands covered in destruction. Then came the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, wiping out entire sections of both cities within seconds. World War II became the deadliest conflict humanity had ever experienced. The Nuclear Age. After World War II, the fear of total destruction became part of everyday life. The United States and the Soviet Union built enough nuclear weapons to destroy civilization many times over. During the Cold War, one mistake or misunderstanding could have triggered global catastrophe. The Cuban Missile Crisis brought the world dangerously close to nuclear war, as people feared humanity's end might arrive within days. Even today, nuclear weapons remain one of the greatest threats ever created by mankind.